Good morning. Buongiorno. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Okay, good morning. We're having a good time now. Now, what are we going to see today? We're going to concentrate on the Exodus. Now, the whole thing about what is the Exodus? The Exodus is one word, explain God's plan to bring the whole of the universe into his life. So this isn't the Exodus. The universe, that word explains from earth to heaven, from sin to perfection, from Egypt to heaven. So we have this Egypt. You see, you first of all leave. Abraham leaves Ur. He goes to Haran, and Israel is started. But Israel has to go down to Egypt because all of us have to go through a bit of a trial. That's what Egypt is, you see. Okay, now what is all this? This Egypt business is we are stuck in the office and we're having a rather difficult time, and life is a bit difficult. So that means that's the life in Egypt, working in Egypt is what every one of us has to be in Egypt. We're stuck there. But the problem is, how do we get out of there, go to heaven, you know? So Egypt symbolizes the earth, Israel symbolizes heaven. Now what happens? Just let's remember this. 200 years ago, Egypt was like everywhere. Worshipping money, worshipping food, worshipping pleasure, worshipping everything else. But what happened? After 2,000 years, Jesus came. Look at this is Egypt. Okay, what happened? The whole of Egypt became Catholic. It worked. God's plan was to make the whole of the Middle East Catholic. And there you see, look, that it became Catholic. Well, the whole of Catholic, these are all Catholic churches. And what happened? What happened? The Islam came and they bust up the whole setup. We've got to be honest about it. That's what happened. The Islam destroyed the whole of the Catholic Church. This was Catholic for 700 years. And Islam came and destroyed the lot. We've got to face it. That's what happened. They destroyed the lot. Okay? So you see, so now we've got to leave Egypt. So we're going to leave this world, and we come here, and we're going to say, okay, well, that's a bit controversial. That's the Chinese version of leaving Egypt. Okay. Now, when we leave Egypt, when Moses left Egypt, he came across some water. But the problem of the water was bitter. So that's, what does that symbolize? That symbolizes everything that is agonizing. All of us have a difficult time. The boss is a menace. The wife has tantrums. The kids are fooling around, and I have no fun, and I'm hungry. That's the cross. Now, how can we use that? Jesus had the same problems. He didn't have a wife, but he had a family, and he had many problems. He died and he rose. Now, with Jesus, I suffer, and then I can go to heaven. But if I just suffer by myself, I'm stuck here. I can't go to heaven. So the cross is the answer to make suffering worthwhile. All right. Now, when these guys were in the desert, every day Jesus gave them manna. Manna. What is manna? Manna is a prefiguring of every day we have to go to Mass to receive communion. Jesus said, if you don't eat my body and you don't drink my blood, you have no life in you. So if tomorrow morning you get up, you don't go to Mass, you don't eat manna, you don't have communion, you're a dead duck. I'm sorry, you look very handsome and look very beautiful, but you are dead. You've got to go to communion, you've got to go to Mass tomorrow morning. You've got to go to Mass. So we can remember that 5 loaves, 2 fish, Jesus fed 5,000. Jesus, with every day, he says to you, take the bread, take the wine, feed the whole world. So that's it. You know, there's a miracle of the dancing sun. In the sun is Jesus, his body. Okay, that means that Jesus Christ is the light of the world, and we become the light, and we become sons of light. So we have to eat Jesus' body and blood, otherwise we are dead ducks. We're walking corpses, you know. Okay, now, the whole point of bringing the Jews out of Egypt into this desert, what is it? to show them that Mass is important, to show them that life manner is essential, prayer is essential, the sacraments are essential, baptism is essential, everything is absolutely essential, because we are living heavenly lives. There was a battle there with the Amalekites. Moses said, I will stand on the top of the mountain, you hold up my hands. That symbolizes prayer. And I will be saying the prayers, you get down there, do the fighting. Somebody says, well, that's very easy. You can sit up there praying. We can all do that. That's very easy. You stand up there. Well, you try standing up there for 12 hours with your hands in the sky. And he couldn't do it. He was an old guy. So you can remember, he was already 80 years old, you know. Well, no, at this time he was, he was getting, anyway, yes, maybe 40 years old. 80, no, he was 80 years old. 40 years in the desert, 40 years in Egypt. So this guy was 80 years old. So he had a difficult time. He had to keep his hands up. That symbolized that he had to say his prayers. Joshua was down there fighting the Amalekites. If he had his hands in the air, the Amalekites were beaten. If his hands were lowered, the Jews were beaten. What does that mean? That means everything we do has to be galvanized, dynamitized, lived. The only thing that makes our life worthwhile is if it is full of prayer. Our life is a life of prayer. We have to live 24 hours a day praying. So this is the same as he just doesn't just say, God, the Jews are having a bad time, help him, God. No, and I'm going. No. He was there permanently, up the whole time, 12 hours. So this symbolizes that our life of prayer is not just a few minutes each day or half an hour on Sunday. It is life is prayer. You know, they say there are only two kinds of people on this world. The people who pray and the people who don't pray. If you pray, you are alive. Now, but we've just got to show that Jesus' prayer is the Mass, because he offers himself completely to the Father. So in a minute now, we're going to show how he does that. He makes his life into a liturgy, and we can join him in the liturgy. And the liturgy is Mass. So we have to, Mass is life. No Mass, no life. What is happening here is that to do this, to teach us how to pray, God brings us into the desert. What does that mean? It means that today I am sitting in the office and I want to make God. So what did I go to the Catholic Church? Of course, I can pray anywhere. But why do I have to go to the Catholic Church? Why do I have to go to Mass? I can pray anywhere. Well, this is shows God brought us into the desert, and he instituted and he designed this fantastic system, which is the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church is the Mass. And in the desert, what he did to kind of prepare our minds for this perpetual existence with God, he had, during the day, there was a column of cloud. During the night, there was a column of fire. The Jews call this the Shekinah. The Shekinah is God's presence, Yahweh's presence with the Jews every day. So we can see here, he brought the Jews into the desert because if they were sitting in Egypt, they were just like us. If it's the same as, why do we have to go to the desert? Because when we're living in Taipei or living in New York or there's too many distractions. So whether we like it or not, he says, go to Mass in the morning. And don't say, I don't need the Mass, I just have to go to Mass. No, he says, every day, God in the form of a column of fire during the night, a column of cloud during the day, and he led the Jews through the 40 years in the desert. These Moses, they didn't just get up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there, like we do. We in our lives, we say, what are you going to do today? Oh, I think I'll go to the beach. Oh, I'm going to get a job with IT. I'm going to go to Silicon Valley. Oh, okay, that's fair enough. But the most important thing is how to get to heaven. So this is how to do. This is the road to heaven. The essence and the center of life is the column of fire and the column of smoke or of cloud, and that is the Eucharist. So what God led the Jews into the desert to teach them how to pray. God led the Jews into the temple to teach them that he was going to come himself to be the living column of fire, the living column of cloud every day with him. God loves us so much that he wants to be with us 24 hours of the day. So that is it, you see. He came down on the mountain and he gave them the commandments, and at the foot of the mountain he made the old Israel into the old Israelites. And just as in the same way, on the cross, Jesus Christ made this old Israel into the new. So this is St. Catherine's monastery in the Sinai desert, which is Justinian started this thing off, and Helena started it, and now it's run by the Greek Orthodox. And that is the door of the St. Catherine. And these monks in there, what do? Pray. And they say Mass, because the Greek Orthodox, according to the Catholics, they are schismatics, which means their life, the Greek Orthodox life, faith, is the same as the Catholics, except they don't obey the Pope. So here we are. The Jews are going along. In front of them, they have the column of fire and the column of smoke. That means we are going along every day. In front of us, who is that? That is Jesus guiding us. How is Jesus? In what form? He is in the Eucharist. He is in the Eucharist. He is taking us through, we're going through life. This is us, these are the Jews. They took this passage. This is in the Sinai desert, going to Israel. I took this myself. I was driving a car, or somebody drove me, and I'm driving this car up to, but that is the same route that the Jews took from the Sinai, the end of the borders, up to the thing. So we'll see in a minute here a sort of design. You see, this is it. We're going. This is just a sort of wandering around in the desert for 40 years. It is exercise. It is that kind of designing them to be citizens of heaven, because we are. And to be citizens of heaven, we've got to go through a tough ordeal. So we say, you see. So we have, what we have here is we have, you'll see the whole thing. You see, look, that's Moses, that's the tabernacle, that's the commandments. Now, Moses is us. Tabernacle is Jesus. The commandments are the commandments of God. Above that is, you see, above that is that's the Shekinah. That is the column of fire. You see, here we have. This is the column of smoke and the column of fire. And inside, this gradually becomes the Holy Eucharist. You see, look. You see, it starts off, you see, that's the column of fire. That becomes the Eucharist. There's the Eucharist up there, you see. So that's called the Shekinah. The Shekinah is the Eucharist with us every day. You see? And you have the commandments, and that is the law. That is every day we read the first reading. The second reading is the law, the old law. What is the new law? The new law is Jesus Christ. So this Ark of the Covenant in the Old Testament goes to the temple in Jerusalem. But when it goes to the temple in Jerusalem, what happens? The temple in Jerusalem, we're going to have a good shot here. You see, look, this is the temple, and gradually the Old Testament ark becomes Jesus Christ himself. We can see here, look, you see that, look. 500 years ago, the ark disappeared. Why? Because Jesus is the ark. There was no Shekinah now. You see, look, Jesus becomes the light of the world. Jesus becomes the Mass. Jesus is with us every day in the Eucharist. You see, every day is here, and we can see here. So every day Jesus is living with us. Every day we live a heavenly life. You see, the altar of every Catholic church is this thing here. You see that? Okay. You see it? Every day it comes back. Okay. This is Jesus with us every day. The cross, the Mass, the fullness of the divine reality in every Catholic church. So we have everything. A Catholic has heaven and a Catholic has earth. We have everything. get cracking and study the whole situation. Otherwise, we're stuck in the desert. Okay.